During WrestleMania, WWE aired a commercial for its Money in the Bank pay-per-view on Sunday, May 10th, which was scheduled to take place at the Royal Farms Arena in Baltimore. No surprise, the arena has since announced that the event has been canceled, and they are offering refunds. And there's no official word yet on whether WWE is going to just move the show to the Performance Center or just cancel it altogether. Obviously, they're not going to cancel it. I mean, they're doing Money in the Bank qualifying matches next week on TV. So I'm sure they'll just end up moving it like everything else to the PC. And empty arena matches are not easy, but ladder matches are even harder to do when you don't have a crowd. I don't think that they're worth doing at all. And if I were WWE, I would just postpone it until later in the year. And if they have to, just replace this pay-per-view with a different one. You know, you do 12 pay-per-views a year, you can afford to put off Money in the Bank. But, you know, I just feel like something like Money in the Bank, something like Hell in a Cell, that needs a live audience. You know, that needs a live audience. And also, I wonder, if you have a Money in the Bank match, usually they have at least 6, right? Sometimes they have 8. You have these I don't know if they're rules or just recommendations of, you know, gatherings of no more than 10 people or under 10 people in one place at one time. How are you going to do a Money in the Bank ladder match and then throw in the camera people and the announcers and the referee and keep it to less than 10 people? It just seems like WWE does not give a shit when it comes to any of this stuff. And they can get away with it, I guess, because, you know, I guess Vince McMahon has friends in high places, and in the state of Florida, they just, I guess, are going to just turn a blind eye. I guess they're just going to turn a blind eye to the whole thing. But I think more than anything, a Money in the Bank or a Hell in a Cell needs to be in front of a live crowd. But they're going to move ahead with it. And if they are moving ahead with it, my early pick for the men's Money in the Bank ladder match is AJ Styles. AJ Styles has never won Money in the Bank before. He could use it coming off of his loss to The Undertaker. It could be his way back into the title picture. I mean, he can hold on to the briefcase as long as he wants. But that could be his entry point back into the championship, position. And another one who has never won Money in the Bank before, and she would be my pick to win the women's briefcase. My early pick would be Sasha Banks. Never won Money in the Bank before, but her winning the briefcase, especially if she were to have the choice of the champion that she would like to go after. I don't remember if that was the rule last year, but if it wasn't, you know, it can be, because why not? They make this shit up to suit their own agenda anyway. They've changed rules before. One year, the Royal Rumble, you can pick the champion of your choice. Another year, you can't. It's brand specific. I don't think they usually give you the choice at Money in the Bank, but why not? Why not give the winner their choice? I think it could create some nice intrigue if it's Sasha, you know, because, first of all, if nothing else, if it has to be the brand that you're on, storyline-wise, it creates more tension and unknowns between Sasha and Bayley. It feeds into their storyline. So I like the idea that Sasha has the briefcase, but she tells Bayley, oh, don't worry, Bayley, I'm going to hold on to this. I'm going to hold on to this, you got nothing to worry about. And Bayley every week has got to be looking over her shoulder because she doesn't know what her best friend is going to do. So it creates some intrigue there. But if Sasha were to have a choice of which women's champion she'd want to go after, I mean, look at who we have as the other women's champions. Some people she knows very well and has a history with. Becky Lynch is the Raw Women's Champion on Monday nights. Charlotte Flair is the NXT Women's Champion. 2 women that she has history with, she's been friends with, she's been enemies with. I think and also, it's about damn time that they shine a spotlight back on Sasha Banks after it being off her for so long. So AJ and Sasha would be my 2 early picks as far as Money in the Bank winners go. On Friday morning, WWE announced that effective today, WWE and The Revival have agreed to their immediate release from WWE. We wish them all the best in their future endeavors. Scott Dawson and Dash Wilder are finally free from the shackles. This is what they've wanted for at least a year. As recently as January, for the second time, they requested their release from the company, so this is at least a year in the making here. It probably was no coincidence that they have not appeared on television since the January 31st episode of SmackDown, if their last request to let me go, let me be free, came in January. They have not been seen on TV since. Supposedly, they had hit their downside guarantee and they weren't even getting paid anymore by WWE. We'll know whether or not that's true or not soon enough when we get the inevitable Talk is Jericho interview, because you know it's coming. But apparently they have no non-compete, so they are free to show up wherever they want to, whenever they want to. It's not like they're in any great rush, I wouldn't think, with everything going on. You know, it's impossible for me to think that they ultimately end up anywhere but AEW. If this whole situation that we find ourselves in now was not going on, if everything was just proceeding as usual, I could see the Revival doing a one-shot or making a couple of appearances in NWA, just to be in that NWA studio. They just, I don't know, visually would be a great fit for, NWA power. Maybe they want to, hit a couple of different places. But ultimately, we all know where they're going to end up. It's not a big secret. They're going to end up in AEW. And AEW's been taping television to take them through at least the month of May. So the only way they'd be able to show up on Dynamite, let's say this week, is via some kind of pre-recorded segment, which, I don't know, in a way, I feel like that would kind of be a lame way to debut them. But I'm sure they're AEW bound, and they'll get their program with the Young Bucks. It may not be this year, maybe next year at this point, but they will get their program, they will get their match with the Young Bucks. These two teams have been teasing this program for what feels like years now. And it looks like their post-WWE names are Dax Harwood. That replaces the Scott Dawson name. Dax Harwood. And I love this one. Cash Wheeler, replacing Dash Wilder. Cash Wheeler makes me sad that they're not going to be able to debut at Double or Nothing in Las Vegas, because that's the name of a casino roulette dealer, if I've ever heard one. Cash Wheeler. But hey, respect to both guys for standing their ground. If you are that miserable, if you are that unhappy, if you are that passionate about what you do, regardless of money, regardless of schedule and benefits and all that kind of stuff, if you are just so passionate about tag team wrestling that you don't like what's going on, you don't think that there's enough of an emphasis on the tag team divisions, or they're not using you the way that you feel you want to be used, you're wasting your prime years. If you are that miserable, there's no amount of money that's going to make you happy. And WWE supposedly offered them a lot of money. They stood their ground. They waited it out, and they got what they wanted. And like Brody Lee, though, they're going to get their chance to prove what they can do. Sink or swim time. You know, when I listen to those guys speak, especially Scott Dawson, I can hear how much these guys love tag team wrestling. They really do. They're just a couple of old school guys. They love tag team wrestling. AEW has a strong tag team division. So I think they're going to fit in right at home in that division. They're not the flashiest. They're not the most exciting team in the world. I don't drop everything I'm doing when I see the Revival on TV. But I enjoy their work. And when you give these guys the chance to go out there and kind of, try to build their own little masterpiece like they did, for example, with DIY in NXT, and some of the matches those guys had. And I think what I'm thinking of is that it might have been 2 out of 3 falls in Toronto, one of the takeover shows, one of the best NXT matches I've ever seen. They had people just eating out of the palm of their hand, hanging onto every move, every near fall. These guys were able to show in NXT what they are capable of. On the main roster, we really never got to see what they're fully capable of. Now they're going to have their shot. They're going to have their chance. And hey, if nothing else, at least we know that if a fan ever decides to hop over the barricade, Cash Wheeler will be there to punch him right in the face. No flips, just fists, right? That is their motto, after all.